What's up, YouTube folks? What up, my peoples? So I said, like I promised, I was gonna give y'all a reaction video. So this is the stuff I be watching while I'm working. It be popping up on my feed. I don't know nothing about Comcast. We gonna learn about them today. I heard about them. I don't know too much about them. So W video. This is logically answered. Subscribe to them. They got some interesting videos. For sure, but we gonna tap right in and see what's going on.
Comcast has consistently ranked as the worst company in America, a gigantic, colossal internet and cable provider with over 186,000 employees.
Good gracious. So, I'm already seeing a downfall, but I guess they was in an internet game. I mean, I kind of had a feeling, but we gonna...
People hate this company, but a lot of time, Comcast is the only cable or internet option they have. Yet now, it feels like some justice has come. Comcast is burdened with mountains of debt, almost $100 billion. Damn,
they must have some good credit. $100 billion? Dang. How can you owe $100 billion? Like, if I owe goddamn just $800 goddamn on a car payment, they coming to get that. How can you owe $100 billion? Like, bro, you owe me $100 billion, bro. Goddamn, I'm owning the company. Employees, everybody coming with me.
Massive plans to expand and dominate a new market, but things didn't go as expected. Now they're struggling to manage their debt, but also stay on top of their core business, internet. This is Comcast's $90 billion debt crisis, and most of it can be traced back to one man.
Damn, one man did this?
First, I think it's important to paint a picture of what Comcast is like. If you live in the US, you probably know, but if you don't, you might think, what's the big deal? Well,
bro, I live in the USA of A, and I don't know nothing about Comcast. I feel bad for anybody who had to use it. They seem like the only providers in your area. Like, if you ain't got no Spectrum and or whatever, they probably only had Comcast.
Let's start with one critical example. In 2014, one customer named Ryan Block called Comcast to cancel his plan, and he was met with this.
We'd like to disconnect, please.
Okay, so why is it that you don't want the faster speed? Help me understand why you don't want faster internet.
You literally...
Oh, bro, is you on drugs? What you mean, why I don't want the faster internet? L question. What?
Just a moment ago said that you would go ahead and disconnect our service, and that's what we're gonna need, and that's what we're gonna need to do. So can you go ahead and do that now?
I'm working on that process.
Okay, great. Okay. How much longer is that process gonna take?
Asking some questions.
Ryan was on...
Oh, no, bro. If you working on the process, bro, ain't nothing to talk about. I don't want to hear no more questions. I don't want to answer nothing, bro. I probably can't afford it. I probably don't want it on my budget. I probably just want to just get rid of it, bro. Just let me do that. What do they mean 20 minutes? 20 minutes is crazy.
For almost 20 minutes trying to cancel his internet plan, but the customer retention specialist wasn't having it and became a
customer retention specialist. That there alone just sound crazy. Retention is gaining your attention. So you try and keep me on the phone for as long as possible? For what? That's what you get paid for, to get a bonus? L job. I wouldn't even took the job.
With Ryan, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. Almost 20 minutes of arguing is one thing, but this is something else entirely.
105 megabits per second for your internet. Astound will not give you that speed.
Okay, we'd like to...
Bro, he sending shots at the ops. He said they not gonna give you that speed, bro. We got that fast speed. They sent it. They was selling internet like dope. He said, bro, they ain't got that good over there, bro. We got it. And you gotta stay right here. You ain't losing clientele for nothing. Sending shots at the oppositions for sure.
We'd like to disconnect, please.
Okay, so why is it that you don't want the faster speed? Help me understand why you don't want faster internet.
Okay,
you are not
regular internet,
declining answers by doing all this.
The way way that you can help me is by disconnecting our service. That's how you
But
can
how
help
is
me.
that helping you, though?
Because
Bro, I ain't gotta explain my life to you. Man, all due respect, bro. We don't give a damn about your bonus, bro. That shit ain't helping another man's pockets. It's only helping yours. So if I want to disconnect my service, bro, I don't have to explain. You feel what I'm saying? I might have found a new service. I might can't afford this service. I might not even use internet, bro. I might be a nigga living off the land. Why you trying to force me to be an internet nigga? Shit be crazy.
that's what I want.
Explain to me how that's helping
That's
you.
what I want.
Okay, so why is that what you want?
Because that's what I want.
Another customer posted a call where Comcast promised not to charge him for a technician visit, but then charged him anyway. And when he tried to complain to Comcast to drop the $182 charge, they said they couldn't undo the charges until he played them a recording of their previous call.
But since I advised my manager that there is a recording,
So I gotta record my phone call to prove what? What? I guess because they figure these people broke, they won't get lawyers involved. Or you gotta find you a lawyer at this point. They playing snake game.
you were misinformed, then he's the one who can approve that 82.
Okay, number one, as I explained to you, it was not a valid charge. And number two, you're telling me that if I didn't have a recording of that call, you wouldn't have been able to do it. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct.
Oh
Yes.
wow.
Awesome. Good thing I'm recording this call too.
Comcast consistently tries to
Well, them people, they sure know how to get you. And y'all know what I mean by them people. Them YT people. They play a very bookish game, bro. If you don't read books or know your rules or know the ins and outs, the gray area, they will get your ass. And that's facts.
be dumb with their own customers.
By the way, I live in a very diverse area, many cultures, many different races, so I love my YT people for sure. Ain't got no problem with them.
And the only way to hold them
I love everybody. Sorry I keep pausing the video. We're gonna get back to it. I love everybody, facts. Like, black people, Mexican, whoever you are, but race don't mean nothing to me. It should be like that. But we back to the video.
acceptable is to record the call. Yet some stories from Comcast are just odd. Another customer called to cancel cable while under financial strain, yet customer representatives escalated things and tried to persuade her to keep the cable service and sign a new 2-year contract. Yet
How can you persuade me, bro? I'm broke. What you gonna persuade, bro? I don't want to do it no more. I ain't got it. These people don't understand that everything we pulling money out of air. Or people in a financial crisis, or jobs ain't busting, pay ain't hitting. We gotta cut costs, bro. But ain't nobody gotta explain that to you, bro. People be knowing what's going on.
the strangest part came in their next bill. Their name was changed to A-hole on their official billing. This might seem like cherry picking, but
Ooh. Man, bro, I don't know. See, that's the thing, bro. You can't be ignorant in this world, bro. You gotta know about the law. Cause this right here is crazy. As a matter of fact, this look like a lawsuit, bro. Comcast, no wonder y'all got so much debt, bro. Niggas probably suing y'all. Who y'all hiring? They hiring
it
anybody.
really
at this
isn't.
thing.
Comcast is known for this type of behavior. Comcast is statistically one of the most hated corporations in America. On Trustpilot, Comcast has a score of 1.1 out of 5 from over 3,500 reviews.
And
The
people
American
still rocking
Customer
with it?
Satisfaction Index ranked Comcast the worst in America in 2004, then again in 2007,
Ooh,
then
3 years.
second worst in 2014,
Ooh, back to
only
back.
behind Time Warner.
Boy, they went 3 years like this motherfucker MVP, ain't it? 3 years like they got down to Nikola Jokic. Boy, they got the 2004 MVP of the worst player of the year award. 2007. Then they backdoored again 7 years ago. It's just crazy, bruh. I mean, Time Warner, that don't even sound good. Like, I ain't have none of these. I guess you could say I'm blessed. But I know some folks who had this, and I thought maybe it was busting. Like, you got a TV to watch. 3 back-to-back is crazy, though. I mean, they had a little 3-year span and a 7-year span. They tried to get it together, but I could have been the CEO of this.
That's across all industries and all companies and government organizations. People hate Comcast more than the IRS. Think about that. Why are cable companies, and in particular
People hate that
Comcast, so
IRS, boy.
egregious?
People hate paying them taxes, boy. There's some real ones out there who ain't paying that.
Well, for much of the 90s, 2000s, and 2010s, Comcast has been running a de facto monopoly. Many areas of the US don't have dense populations, but still need internet or cable. But both of those require dense infrastructure, which is costly. So it's not uncommon for many areas to only have one provider, Comcast. With no competition, they can charge
they was getting
customers
off on
whatever
them
they
folks.
want and treat them however they want. Comcast has even lobbied against cities trying to build broadband networks which would increase competition and improve the quality of life of their customers. But there's also something else. There are clues that these terrible experiences are by design. All of this brings us back to one man, the person who ruled Comcast with an iron fist for 35 years and is responsible for their mountain of debt and current challenges.
Ooh, my boy was in it for 35 years. 35 years, you the only internet company in some areas. Yeah, he was getting off on y'all. What? I could have been the CEO. I could have been his op. I could have started some internet, got an internet game, and just took a piece of the pie. I ain't even had to do it for 35 years. I don't know nothing about no internet, but it makes sense though, cause internet is like, it was like a new thing, so it's like people trying to develop their area and get it right. That junk costs. And I don't know. He only know about it, the budgeting and all of that. So shoot, he could probably say it costs this and it don't. I ain't gonna lie, man. You're a smart man. The ones who be rich, bro, they don't be crazy. They be knowing some things.
In 1990, a new president was appointed at Comcast, Brian L. Roberts. When he took over, Comcast was
Boy, in 1990, boy, you look like you was already 60. Boy, what's going on? Boy.
$650 million in revenue. But by 2017, Robert would grow this to $85 billion. And it wasn't just
He should have retired. That greed to get you, that 85 Bs, and he was probably paying it out, budgeting, putting it in this area. He was spending a lot of money to make that 85. I ain't gonna lie, 85 billion, you gotta retire, bro. You gotta leave it alone. You gotta appoint somebody else. That greed to get you, bro. Don't ever be greedy, bro. If you got money like this, bro, just retire. Go get you a nice little car. Go parasail. Jump out of a helicopter. Whatever y'all people do with all that money. For sure.
cable and broadband, Roberts would transform Comcast into something else entirely. Comcast would transform from a content provider to a content creator. In 2011, Comcast acquired NBC Universal for $16.7 billion. And over time, their collection of media brands expanded into a long list of brands. Universal, CNBC, DreamWorks, Illumination, Bravo, and many more.
With all due respect, I could see the DreamWorks and the Universal for the movies, but these channels is weak. I don't know what they thought. They thought he was gonna watch movies all day. I'm not. See, when I watch movies, I just watch it like a one good 2 times. But I'm not watching no movie 3, 4, 5 times, and we not binge watching movies. And they don't have good TV shows. I seen the vision crashing before it even crashed.
Comcast's home industry was beginning to wane. They were cable TV providers, and people were canceling cable plans in favor of much cheaper and flexible streaming plans. Robert saw this future and was trying to change Comcast, and to his credit, he began this change early. This meant new markets and new revenue, not just in movies, but TV shows, sports, news networks, theme parks, and the real moneymaker, merchandise. This also meant new opponents, and
bro trying to sell merch. He trying to get in the theme park game. See, he just greedy, bro. You can't do that. You have $85 billion in revenue. Pay who you gotta pay and get the fuck out the way. But I don't know, man. He probably was tied in some shit, bro. I don't know.
One in particular terrified Roberts, Disney.
Oh, Disney
You see,
don't play.
at this time, while Comcast was beginning to move into the world of entertainment,
If you don't know nothing about Disney, we gonna do a reaction on Disney. Disney is a wild place. You can't smoke no cigarette. They got their own police. Disney is different. They got a grip on the game. They've been running things for a long time, so they got some strict people that's running that.
Disney was tightening its grip. They had begun buying all kinds of brands themselves. Pixar in 2006, Marvel Entertainment in 2009,
getting it poppin'.
Lucasfilm, aka Star Wars in 2012, and their next move would be their biggest, 21st Century Fox. Disney already had a lot of brands, but this was different. It would make them the king of entertainment. This
They
was a
wasn't
gigantic
playing.
collection of films,
them
TV
numbers.
shows, and IPs. The Simpsons, Alien, X-Men, National Geographic,
They taking
X-Files,
over.
Avatar, Planet of the Apes. The list goes
Disney
on and
wasn't
on and
playing.
on. This
I
would
watch a
improve
little
Disney's
bit of them.
lineup, giving them
I don't
more
really rock
content
with
to
Disney.
offer on their new streaming platform, Disney.
I ain't even gonna hold you. Like, I like Disney movies. If you was a VHS person, I don't know how old y'all is. Y'all might be young. VHS, y'all might not even know what that is. That's where you get the tape, pop it in the jar. You can rewind it, fast forward it. TVs came with the little slot. Put the VHS in. Disney had so many VHS movies. Like, Disney took over the VHS game for sure. And my first job was Goodwill, so I seen all of it. When people like the transition of DVDs and stuff, I seen like when people was getting rid of their VHSs, I seen all of that. Disney, phew.
Besides Marvel, Star Wars, Pixar,
They've been
and
in
the
the
Disney
game.
films. More mature, adult-centered content, which they were lacking. Not only that, it would give
Okay,
them
back to what I was saying though. Like, yeah, I watch Disney movies, but that's like my childhood. When I was like elementary school, middle school, even high school, Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, and the real ones gonna feel me. Adult Swim, Cartoon Network, Toonami. And if you too young, you just too young, man. I'm sorry you missed out. Cause the new Cartoon Network that these kids grew up on, it ain't the same. You talk about Ed, Edd and Eddy, Dexter's Lab, Johnny Bravo, a pup named Scooby Doo, the Scooby Doo Show. We can go on and on. I'm talking about stuff used to be on Boomerang. But either way, like Bill Adventures of Grimmy and Mandy, like we can keep going. Nickelodeon has some slappers too, like iCarly, Degrassi. I don't know if Degrassi was on Nickelodeon low key, but we gonna shout them all out, brother. The Nick at Night, the Slime. Like right now I'm brain fogging, but I used to be on all of that. Drake and Josh, Amanda Show. Yeah, we can bust them all down. Like, I'm sorry you missed out, but Nickelodeon cartoon was cracking. No diss to Disney.
or India, a
A lot of my
network with
people
hundreds of
used to watch Disney too, crazy. Like Proud Family, but I'm not that. I wasn't one of them. I ain't never watched it. Right, That's So Ravens and Zach and Cody's. Like I seen them on the guide, but it was stuff better on the other guide. You feel what I'm saying? Like this is Dragon Ball Z. Come on now, what are we talking about?
viewers across Asia that has massive networks in TV and sports like cricket. This would make Disney a juggernaut. Ironically, Comcast, the monopoly of cable and broadband, was afraid of another
They
monopoly.
don't have nothing.
So, what happened? In December 2017, Disney secured a deal to buy 21st Century Fox for $52.4 billion. Things were moving along smoothly, expected to close by summer 2019. Then, Comcast entered the scene. In May 2018, Comcast prepared to challenge Disney's bid for 21st Century Fox, financing $60 billion, much more than Disney's offer. Then they made
boys
a
is
formal
bidding
offer to
high.
21st Century Fox, except now it was $65 billion. Then Disney amended its original deal.
Hold on, bruh. You only made 85 B's. Is Fox really worth this much money, bruh? This is your downfall. I told you should have retired with the 85. Now we up to 75, 73, 72. Well, we gonna round now. 71 B's. I can't. That is a lot of money. That is a lot of zeros. 71 B's for Fox, and I'm pretty sure Fox has some bangers. I think they had Transformers, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know, but they probably did have some bangers, but is this shit really worth this much, bro? 85 B's, and do you want to, like, come on now, don't be greedy, dog.
Upping to $71.3 billion, or nearly $20 billion more than their original offer. Comcast folded as they couldn't keep up with the bidding
Yeah, you
war.
gotta fold,
In the
bro.
aftermath, Brian Roberts said, "I'd like to congratulate Bob Iger and the team at Disney and commend the Murdoch family and Fox for creating such a desirable and respected company. Comcast..."
I don't know, bro. They be talking in code. Like, is that really a admittance of defeat? Are you what you know what I'm saying? Are you accepting defeat, or are you sending them hitmen? They playing with some real zeros. I ain't gonna lie. Like, I'm not even. We just gonna find another route. Like, you know what I'm saying? Do your research on these new developers. That's where they would have came up. Cause there's some stuff right now that's hitting hard in 2025.
had lost, yet there was another part to the story. In the immediate aftermath, Comcast bid against Fox and, by extension Disney, for control of another major asset, Sky. Sky is a gigantic British broadcasting network with tens
Yeah,
of millions of customers in...
I have never heard of this, but it is somewhere on the British side. So salute to y'all if y'all had Sky. I don't know if that TV was busting. It don't look like it. Look like they got some soccer. Got a little Formula One. I ain't gonna lie, this don't look busting. Maybe the soccer probably busting, but maybe this y'all type of TV.
And Oceania. Sky didn't have as many IPs in film or TV, but their big prize was sports. Cricket, Formula One, and the biggest of all, the Premier League. The final sale price was $39 billion, over $3 billion more than Fox's offer. Comcast lost the war for Fox against Disney, but they did come out with something. Their network was now much stronger, though things didn't quite play out as Comcast expected.
Oh boy. That boy took 2 L's. But you going to get some big dogs.
Comcast knew the future wasn't in cable, so they were trying to build their own streaming service, Peacock. Fox had many IPs that would have given Peacock a huge edge in the market, but that didn't happen. Losing the bidding war, Comcast bought Sky instead, a very different purchase to Fox. An old traditional broadcasting company, a massive one to be fair, but this brought a new problem for Comcast. Over the next few years, Sky began to stumble. In 2022, they reported an operating loss of £111 million after...
Whoo, boy, just losing money out here. I ain't even gonna hold you. They should have went with Peacock, but I guess they originators is probably on that other side of the world or country or wherever y'all from. No offense, I've never been there before, but like to. But that's probably why he invested and he thought it was like, yeah, this gonna be busting, but nah, bro. Soccer don't even come on that much. No disrespect. I know y'all some real soccer fans. I'm a basketball fan, but I just can't watch a whole soccer game like that.
Revenue of £10 billion remained flat. The next year, Sky lost £224 million and cut 1,000 jobs, or about 4% of their staff. At the end of the day, Sky is a broadcasting company after all. Even if they had great rights to sports, much of their business was satellite TV, and much of their revenue came from advertising. To make matters worse, Comcast had taken on a lot of debt to purchase Sky. At the end of 2018, their total debt jumped to $111 billion. And Sky wasn't the only thing going wrong for Comcast.
Told you, bro, you should have retired. You had 85 B's in revenue. Should have paid who you paid. You probably would have ended up with at least a B, maybe 3, 4, 10 B's. You would have had a lot of money still. And just retired. But now instead you play with the 85 and you owe, I don't even, 111 billion? Well, I can't even say the number. It's just crazy.
In Q4 of 2024, Comcast executives warned of a coming drop in subscribers. They expected 100,000 to leave, but in reality, it was about 140,000, and 8,000 of them were expected to be high-paying business subscribers. Also, these weren't cable TV subscribers. They were broadband customers, meaning something was very wrong. After the subscriber exodus, Comcast share price dropped by 11%. They've been seeing subscriber drops in the past quarters too. In the past year, their total value...
That drop is nasty. That thing said, pew! Jumped off the cliff. Like, pew! Like a splash, just straight wasted. What is y'all doing?
Dropped by almost 30%. Why?
Damn.
Well, at this time, Florida was hit by hurricanes Milton and Helene.
Okay,
But
respect.
technically, that only accounted for 10,000. In reality, most of the losses are actually from competition. Comcast has had a monopoly for decades, but the industry is changing. Companies like Verizon.
Yeah, bro, what you thought, bro? You thought you was gonna be the only one forever? Bro, there's too many smart people out here. There's too many colleges, bro. It's too much internet already. You ain't using Comcast to do their research? Crazy, man. You should have retired.
T-Mobile are carving out Comcast market share, but not with broadband, with fixed wireless access or FWA. It's like wireless service but for fixed permanent locations like homes and businesses. In Q4 2024, T-Mobile added 428,000 subscribers to this network, increasing the total to 6.4 million. In the same period, Verizon also added 373,000.
Y'all just some losers, bro. Y'all losing to T-Mobile, Verizon, Disney. Y'all just losing, bro. Like, when are we gonna catch a W? You caught a W way back with the 85Bs. And you should have stopped. That greed be a motherfucker, boy.
Subscribers to FWA. When you compare traditional broadband to FWA, it's easy to see why people would switch. Broadband is a pain to install and requires a Comcast technician most of the time, but FWA you can plug in yourself. Not only that, the pricing is usually much cheaper and more flexible. And with how strong wireless networks are getting, if you don't have access to fiber, it's a pretty good option. With the customer calls you heard at the start, it's no wonder why people would want to switch to T-Mobile or anyone other than Comcast, America's worst
Nah, for real, bro. They gon' why you don't get the fast internet? T-Mobile gonna sweet talk you like Chick-fil-A. You might even get you got iPhone for free off the scrim. Like, bro, I just came to get a Wi-Fi box. I got an iPhone.
Now, I will note, broadband will never die, or at least not anytime soon, as it comes with far faster speeds like fiber and is more stable. But things are changing. The places where customers had no other option now have more options, or rather, the option to not choose Comcast. Their debt had ballooned for an asset that was dwindling, and their core business was stagnant, if not dying. And that brings us back to the man behind all of this. Brian L. Roberts took over the role of president from Ralph J. Roberts. If that name looks familiar, it's because Ralph is Brian's father and the founder of Comcast. That doesn't sound too abnormal, but let's look a bit closer. Roberts owns about 1% of Class A Comcast shares.
Time out before we get into this. Yeah, we get it, you inherited from your son. Or your father. We get that, that's cool. Your father did great work. You almost did great work, bro. You was busting 85 billion. You wasn't out here getting loose. Trying to, like, you know what I'm saying? Keep that 85 billion alive with legacy. You ain't find you a woman to get loose. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? When it's time to pass it, it's like, oh, this shit getting crazy. Let me pass it to my jit. Deep, boy. And then you should have been getting really loose. You feel what I'm saying? You had 3 forms of, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, I might pack, you spread it out. All of them get a share of it. Fuck it up all together. But I'm out. You old, bro. You got gray hair.
But he also owns 100% of Class B shares.
Woo.
Why does that matter? Well, let's take a look at their voting securities document. The shares of Class B common stock beneficially owned by Mr. Brian L. Roberts represent 33 and 1/3% of the combined voting power of the 2 classes of our voting common stock, which percentage is generally non-dilutable pursuant to the terms of our Articles of Incorporation. AKA...
Time out, bro. You just hit me with some words. This man owns some voting stuff and he just basically got some money.
Has 33.3% voting power over the company, despite only owning 1% of the stock. Brian Roberts isn't an appointed CEO. He inherited control. Comcast is a family-run business. He has had an extreme level of control to do whatever he wants, and I think this is a good time to revisit their customer service.
Bruh, I know you ain't the best looking, bruh, but that money make the shout to do something. And even if, bruh, like, you gotta find somebody to pass it off to, bro. You gotta pass that rock, bro. I know you ain't looking the best, bro. You old. I don't know if you still shooting, but you should have retired, bro. You should have shut it down, closed shop. Figure out a new CEO, hire, you can do interviews. I'm looking for a CEO.
Everyone is so fond of. Do you remember the first customer call? Well, Robert said he was embarrassed when he heard the call. It was a teachable moment for employees, and it was a teachable moment for all of us, he said. We get 250 million phone calls a year. The nature of our business is that we're going to have these things. While that's true, when we dig a bit deeper, we see what's really happening. Customer service reps get paid a low amount, but depending on how many customers stay, they get a bit more. For this, Comcast uses gates. If 85% of a rep's customers stay, they get their full payout. At 80%, you might only get 75% of your payout, and at 75%, you might only get your base.
That is a crazy hierarchy. So, in order to get my check, I gotta wait for this motherfucker to quit. That's crazy.
20% of reps' pay comes from this. One past employee said, customer service reps watch these numbers daily and will fight tooth and nail to stay above the I get nothing number. The man in the recording went too far. You're not supposed to flat out argue with them, but Comcast literally provides an incentive for this kind of behavior. Comcast said they would investigate this one case and
I might have had to work for him, yo. You get paid to cut somebody out? Bro, you better get this fast ass internet, fuck nigga. My bonus on the line, nigga. My seed gotta eat. I could have been a good retention specialist.
quick action, but a former retention agent revealed that they were told by regional management that he was just a little too aggressive, but what a job he did in trying to save the customer. He was not fired for that. Of course, this is anonymous, so take it with a grain of salt, but it certainly sounds plausible. Is Comcast gonna go bankrupt? No, but they are in a difficult spot. Their revenue has been essentially flat. Stable, sure, but their efforts to grow have backfired. Keep in mind, despite their stable income, they've been carrying massive debt for a long time, since 2018, and it hasn't gone down much at all, removing less than a tenth of it in over 7 years. To make matters worse, the reason for all of this was a bad investment. Yet, not only is Comcast's media empire struggling, so is their core business. Customers are moving to better, more flexible plans. Comcast feels like a relic, a time with terrible internet plans and awful cable with no other options. Thankfully, that's changing. AT&T also tried to get into the media business, and it backfired even worse. Check out this video to learn more, but until then, I'm Hari.
WW Video, I ain't know nothing about Comcast. These boys had 85 billion and upped it to 110. So basically, he owed 20 billion. I don't even know if he ever made that up, but logically answered. Shout out to them. W Reaction, W Video, cause I ain't know nothing about Comcast. And if you ain't know nothing about Comcast, you learned something today. But interesting. We got more coming. Like and subscribe. It's Mac Zodi, Work Machine Zoe. And we're gonna do another one, but for now, we out.